So what best can be done within the system, we try addressing that issue. If those issues are done and ERP cannot be fixed beyond a point, that is where all these add-on systems come into play. Okay. So first of all, re-looking, because typically what corporates look at is, again, we talk from experience, I may be wrong. Somehow the material has got to come in, get manufactured. I have to invoice my customer and my P&L should not stop. If these four criteria are satisfied, I am happy with my ERP. There are a number of other modules which never get used, and that is what we have got to look at. So typically,
we have one such report which shows you that customer-wise, product-wise profitability. This is nothing but our activity-based information system. We call it as ABIS PRO. Now we are having two products. One is an activity-based information system, which gives you the avenues which we are offering to the queries or the question what sir asked during his lecture. So this activity-based information system. Another one is our pricing pro, which helps you in processing your RFQs. Majorly tier 1 or tier 2 companies receive RFQ from their customers. Then they will do it manually. First the order will be received from customer. Those things can be addressed using the pricing tool. So first we will go with the ABIS PRO. Here if you see the customer, it is typically one automobile company, a test data. It is just a goofed up data. You can able to split and identify state transport corporation, railways, aftermarket, that is replacement market. Then within OE, you will have a multiple list of customers. Say example, Brakes India, Mando. Then if you go into Brakes India, the Brakes India is again supplying to another OE. If you have some, these data can be included here and it can be used for identifying. Suppose the Brakes India,
again, they have this pad, for example, is one product code, where it is applied. It is applied in MUV and passenger car vehicles. So inside that, if you go, you have the part numbers. So what you have is, here is a typical slicing and dicing, but not at gross margin level, but at EBT level. And this is not based on a standard predetermined rate, it is based on monthly actuals. So what a good accountant and his team should do is, instead of giving the monthly P&L as a percentage, if you are able to give the monthly P&L on a customer-wide, product-wide basis like this, then it is good. Is it possible? Is the question. In the first week of whichever month.
So another has happened during the month. We have another report which will support you in identifying what is your budget and what is your actual against each product wise and customer wise as well. Here you can do multiple level of slice and dice, which will help you in understanding not only at cost element level but also at activity level. Sir was rightly mentioning cost element is used for external purposes like investors, government, creditors, etc. But here it is not only at cost element level, that is like labor, power, consumables, tools, indirect labor, depreciation, interest, not only in that fashion, but in a activity wise, what are all the activities performed by the company, whether it is a production activity or a service activity. Say for example, HR activity, within that HR, whether he is using for recruitment, whether that cost has to be considered or not to the product, whether he is doing for day-to-day recruitment like means manpower recruitment, then accountant, who are doing bill booking, then for a quality team who are checking the products at the customer end, those costs has to be assigned only to those customers. Say for example, Hyundai may ask you to send your quality person to their plant. They have to scan that before it enters their plant. Our staff quality person has to scan that, and he has to check once again, which is already checked by our quality person who is there in our plant. So those costs has to be assigned to quality. But normally what we will do, we will consider all the quality costs and divided by number of inspections or the cycle time or the man time or the machine time. Here if you see sir, here it is a maintenance activity, whether it is electrical maintenance, against which machine they have performed the maintenance is the key question. It is not about the total production time, that is total machine time divided by maintenance cost divided by total machine time. We have to identify which machine he has performed, how many hours he has worked, along with whom, maybe 1 people or 2 people or 3 people, whether at the senior executive level or at the head of manufacturing engineer or head of the engineering team has to perform. Those costs type of understanding can be done in this. For this, sir, as the sir basically said, we will visit the plant of the client, we will understand, we will ask them to capture data in a set of fashion, then whether it is in their ERP or in the Excel form, then we will use those data for this purpose.
To do a report like this, as sir told, we have to move beyond manufacturing. So what we call in the ABC terminology as a bill of activity. Bill of activity is nothing but the entire value stream. For our operations we use routing, and routing is used for product costing up to inventory. But here we use a bill of activity, which is an extended routing, right from my sourcing to delivery to customer. Which customer product combination demands which activity? Accordingly I will cost. That customer product combination does not demand a particular activity, I will not cost. So it won't be butter applied on bread blindly. That is the difference. So when you do activity based costing, value stream mapping is automatically taken care of. It is done as an activity by most companies. VSM. Again, if you enter, you can understand that VSM has been done. There will be a room like this. A chart it starts here, then extends like Hanuman's tail, then comes up to the end, which means a VSM exercise has been done. But then are you putting a financial figure against it is the question. It cannot be an exercise with an end in itself. Obviously, end of the day, all your TPM, PPM, VSM, 5S, whatever you do, how does it affect your bottom line? And that is what is sought to be addressed here. Cost driver rate. Excel learner. Process perspective. This is for a die casting machine, right? I have 2 months data with me. Just go down. I am using machine hours since it's the molding machine, right? The cost is 2,47,000 in April. It has worked for 327 hours and the rate per hour is 754. In May, the hours has come down. This is the cost and the rate has now gone up to 1,224. What would be the consequence, sir? The products passing through this activity in May would automatically cost more. So first of all, this is not addressed in our SAP. Not addressed in the sense companies don't use it. When you use it only for inventory valuation, every month you have the same predetermined rate. You are not changing it. The impact of underutilization or more, that is not captured at all because you have a standard overhead rate. That is the first point. Second is, because of this, any product, the product is same. It has not changed from April to May. But due to my inefficiency, the product is costing more in May. So is it the activity or is it the product? Which is to blame? It is the inefficiency in performance of the activity. Next, if you look at this, the next point as a management day, what I would be looking at, where has the cost gone up? Typically you find in maintenance it has gone up. In power it has gone up significantly. The question arises, why it has gone up? The team has to come up with answers. Yes, this month power failure was more. I used more of generated power. Acceptable or not? Why maintenance more? Why not a machine of this tonnage and capacity should be operating for 600? Why is it operating only for 327 hours? And further what? Worse, even more. So what are the reasons? And it is also reflected in higher maintenance cost. Now this is how our monthly review has got to be conducted. Not putting expenses as a percentage of sales. If we conduct it along these lines, then we can expect an explanation from our production guide, from our maintenance guide, right? Then look at ways and means to improve. Or if it is because of lack of orders, catch hold of the marketing guide by his scruff of the neck and tell him you better get more orders for my machine to be filled up. Does it not make more sense, sir? Rather than looking at as a percentage of sales. So, another example, make of it. Sir, these are all live cases, only the numbers have been slightly fudged. We cannot share client data stream as well as outside. Now this casting happens to be produced in the machine that I showed now. Right? So two things, our production team was demanding one more machine. Right? Management is faced with a capex decision. And we were outsourcing. So you can see here, if I do the casting in-house, what are all the activities? Right? In-house, what are all the activities? And what is the final cost? So I end up with the cost of engineering. $330. Now if I do it outside, outsource part of production, the bill of activity is different. It will be significantly smaller. Right? What is the cost? Now, if I use this data to justify going in for a machine or not, right? What is the cost of make or buy decisions? Plus, I also use inputs on existing capacity utilization of the machine. Does it not make decision making more scientific, sir? Instead of just talking based on gut instincts. I am able to substantiate my arguments with a figure. Yes or no, different. That is up to the management. But if I talk with figures like this, would it not be better? That is the entire purpose. Another thing I told about embedding with analytics. Right? So typically in today's environment, see, many companies we see, I have made this improvement. What is the cost impact? Something natural which operations people are bound to ask. Are we in a position to answer? What if? What happens if I outsource? What happens if I do in-house? What happens if I change the process? I balance the line and I am saving in time, reducing the tuck time, neck time. Am I in a position to give an answer for that? So what we need is a tool for that. What if? Scenario planning. So that is something which we can show here. This is for a customer product combination. I take one of the best ones possible. Right? Go here and change the parameters. What happens if I modify the bill of material? Input output norms. What happens if there is a change in the price of material? I can go and vary the parameters here. Similarly, I can also vary you have the cost sheet, element wise cost sheet you can see here. Okay. So how the cost has changed, material cost has changed. And now the same cost sheet I take a activity first one. I go and change the process parameters. You can go here, product driver, production, the route, and change the setup time or machine cycle time, whatever driver you use, I change that. Then what is the impact? So you can identify. This is not going to affect your existing cost. It is only a scenario case. So this way, we need to have a tool with us. So this is what it brings to the table, sir. Our costing tool.